We're live? Dang.
You're good, man. No, it's okay.
Okay, hello, people of YouTube. This is Small Axe Talks. I'm here today with a very special guest, Robert Uribe, who is the mayor of Douglas, Arizona, husband and father to 3 children,
Yes.
as well as artist, I'm told. So, if you don't mind, I'd like to kind of start just a little bit with your background. And I know, from Harrison that you are originally from the Dominican Republic and that you ended up in New York City. Is that correct with your family?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, so how did that kind of happen?
So, I was born in the Dominican Republic, and Mom always had a vision. My mother always had vision and ideas. And one of her things was that it was important for her to get us to move to New York. I mean, that was always her dream. So in 1990, we left the Dominican Republic and we ended up in New York City, which in retrospect has been what made me, all right, what made me into who I am today, because it's it's a place that is it's big and it's profound and it's compelling. I mean, there's culture, there's art, music, and although my mom didn't have so much education, but she had vision in what she wanted her kids to experience living in this big city, the big city of dreams, New York City.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. So how many siblings do you have?
2.
2 siblings, okay.
Yes.
So you moved to New York in 1990. So what was that like? What part of the city did you move to?
We moved to Dykeman, which is like it's like a little Dominican place, a lot of Spanish speaking people. In the early 90s, there was a lot of art, music, drugs. It was it was a tough time for us because my dad wasn't around. So then you have a single mom raising 2 kids in this huge city with no support, and we struggle a lot in school. We didn't speak any English. My mom was on welfare, and there was a lot going on, and I didn't realize that what we were living was not normal, just how chaotic and unstable we were. So when we first moved to New York, we lived for a while in the Bronx, and then we went, we moved in different places, and finally we ended up living in Dykeman, and that's when I started meeting friends. I started playing basketball, and I started being part of the culture, because for a while, I left this beautiful tropical place, and here I am in a subway. Here I am with a coat. Here I am with, without any idea of what it feels like to be living in a big city.
How old were you?
I was 6.
6, okay. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So what was it like going to like high school and things like that?
In high school, it was a little bit easier because I spoke English.
Okay.
And I played basketball, so I was able to able to develop a relationship with people, and that obviously helps. So in elementary, it was tough because of everything that was happening personally. Watching my mom, deteriorate, which thank God today she's well, and I'm here after God because of Mom's vision and what she's always been able to inspire me to do great things. And so elementary was tough. Middle school was okay. And then high school was, this is when you thought, or when I thought it was cool. I was playing basketball, and I was growing up. And I thought I knew it all, and it was, I ended up having to transfer school. So I was in John F. Kennedy, and I transferred to Bronx Regional because I was falling behind in some of my classes. So my basketball coach said, Robert, I want you to meet me at the park. And I want you to meet me with your transcripts, because he knew that I was failing. So I meet him at the park. I wasn't dressed appropriately. I had like this long white T-shirt, and he's like, where are you going? I'm like, well, I'm gonna meet the coach. He's like, no, you're not. So he gives me a button-up shirt, and I go there and I meet Coach Wade at Bronx Regional. And that year I was a starting point guard for the team, and I graduated. So there are a lot of people in my life that have made a difference in who I am today, and I owe every single of accomplishment that they feel I've accomplished to them.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So when you got out of high school, did you know kind of what direction you wanted to move into, or?
No, I that's when I realized that I didn't speak well.
Yeah.
That's when I knew that every single thing that I went through in life had an impact. So when I would ride the subway and I would hear other people speak English, and my English was not as appropriate or grammatically correct, I realized that something was wrong. That throughout that whole time that I wasn't paying attention, or I was distracted by things at home, it was having an impact on me. So I needed to read, I needed to get back into the course, right? So it wasn't until I moved to Arizona that I realized, so I was born in the Dominican Republic, I grew up in New York City, but Arizona made me into a man. So that's sort of been my experience in life so far.
When did you move to Arizona?
2005.
2005. Okay. So how the hell did you end up in Douglas, Arizona?
So I met my wife, Janae, in 2009. She says 2010, but I say 2009. So I meet her, and she's like, I'm from Douglas, Arizona. And I didn't know if that was in the state of Arizona, if that was somewhere else. She's like, no, it's on the border. And I'm like, oh, cool. So let's check it out. And so we visit for the first time back in 2010. And I just, as I did with her, I fell in love with Douglas. It was a place that reminded me so much of New York, with the the downtown district. It's history, it's culture, and it's people. It's binational, cross-border aesthetic was amazing to me. But early on, I didn't have an appreciation for that because it was too overwhelming for me to understand it. So through her lens, I was able to understand it and slowly adjust to the shift of lifestyle. So that living in Douglas has been one of the richest experiences I've ever experienced in my whole life.
Really?
Yes.
That's amazing. Yeah, to move from New York City to a town that is what, like 17,000 people?
17,000. But before I moved to Douglas, I lived for some time in Chandler.
Oh, okay.
So I lived in Chandler, met Janae. She lived in Tempe.
Okay, met in Chandler.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, it still was a huge leap to live in there in Douglas.
Do you find like living in, because I've always kind of had this like I can't say this word, romanticization. There we go. Romanticization that I want to move to like this like smaller town, and I feel like it's like easier to connect with people. Yes. Do you find that to be true?
Absolutely. My wife also is a person that is a thoughtful person, and she's very skilled at what she does. She's an artist. She's a teacher. She's a mother. She's a wife. She's an activist. And Janae has taught me so much. Early on, we were thinking about relocating when we opened our coffee shop. And she said, we can move to Phoenix or Tucson, and we can join an organization, but we can likely make a greater impact here at home. And I said, what do you mean by that? She said, well, we can do this. We can get into this. And what she meant was that we can join committees, that we can be on school boards, that we can be in city council. And that's what she was referring to. And you're absolutely right. You have a stronger connection with people. Like I go knock on doors And and they're like, some of the people are freaked out, like, oh, the mayor's here knocking on my door. And I just want to hear from them. I'd rather go to them than them go to me, because I want to make sure that whatever we're working on or we're doing, that is a joint effort, that it's just not coming from the administration, that the collaboration is among the community. So I definitely recommend for you to spend some time in small communities so you can get that feel from the people.
Cool. Very cool. So when you, again, from Harrison, I kind of found this out. When you moved down there at some point, you guys had a cafe, is that correct? And you no longer have that?
We don't operate the cafe.
Oh, okay.
There's a business still with the same model.
Oh, okay.
Blueberry Cafe. It's run successfully by Alex Bonell. She's doing an amazing job. And as a New Yorker, I always thought, man, if we do well in this cafe, they're gonna raise the rent. So I told Janae, we need to purchase this building. So we ended up purchasing the building. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
So eventually, our goal is to remodel the place. We have like 18 or 20 rooms upstairs, and we would like to create this artist residency program for artists to come visit and experience the border. But they have to collaborate with the community through like an art project that relates and integrates the community's input.
That sounds awesome. Yeah. That's badass. What was is it like an old building?
Yes.
What was it?
It used to be a cafe, and upstairs it was like a hotel. It's called Hotel Haddon Hotel, and the bottom was a cafe. Yeah,
that's awesome. That reminds me of like some like old like Western like movie where it's like the saloon in the bottom.
Yes.
And like that's cool. So what is it like living in a border community? Because especially now, like you hear so many people talking about, there's like so much news about the border and things like that. Is there anything like specifically that you guys deal with that is different than any other cities in the U.S.?
Every border community is uniquely different, but every border community is just like any other community. I don't understand why we have to categorize our border community into a separate group, and that group remains to be a negative group. And as I tell people that visit, in order for you to understand the border, you have to live it, you have to experience it, you have to talk to the people on the ground, and you have to appreciate the value that border communities bring to this country. And I didn't realize that until I lived, until living in Douglas, that I realized how beautiful the culture is, how amazing for example, I sometimes go to Agua Prieta to purchase things, and sometimes you have people cross over to Douglas to purchase things. I mean, I purchase most of my things in Douglas, Arizona, but there's often times that I go across the line to, I don't know, get a cake or something, or collaborate with an artist in Agua Prieta. And that's just a culture, you know, that's just a culture.
That's cool. Is it, have things like changed more recently as far as just like, is it easier, or is it about the same as far as crossing the border and things like that? Or is it any different, or?
It's been heavily polarized by the media. And what's unfortunate is that the voices of the people don't really get told by them, the people that have lived there for many years. It's used as a prop to gain voters and to manipulate people that haven't experienced the border. So I'm going to tell you that the border is scary, and we need to have all these, militarized equipment. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Protecting and securing our border is one of our biggest priority. We are a sovereign country, and we need to protect our borders. But the way that we go about it is not we don't go about it in a productive way. So I would hope that that the people can also contribute to the conversation as to how do we protect and secure our borders.
Yeah. So how did you end up deciding to run for mayor?
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah?
No. I was inspired by the people of the community.
Yeah.
When we had the cafe, they were surprised that we were there for that long. We were there for about 4.5 years.
The residents.
Yes.
Like, what are you doing here?
Like, how do you sell coffee and healthy food and it's still open, but we were always on game. We were figuring out ways to keep the place very innovative and very inspiring. So we served as an art gallery. We served as a job interviewing space. I mean, it was a multi-purpose facility, space, whatever you want to call it. So they were inspired, and I was inspired by them. So the people in Douglas were inspired by what we created, but I was mostly inspired by them, the people. So they said to me, Robert, can you imagine if you were able to transform this place along with your wife? Can you imagine what you can do with the resources of the city? And I said, oh, okay. Let me, that's an idea.
Yeah.
So I ended up going to Chiapas to meet the farmers of the coffee that we sold.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm a huge coffee lover.
Are you?
Yeah. Press Coffee, shout out to them, and Cartel Coffee in Arizona. I don't know if you've either been to either of those, but
yeah.
I frequent those places all the time. Big coffee lover.
No, they're legit.
Yeah.
You have to try Cafe Justo.
Where's that?
And Harrison orders from Cafe Justo.
Oh, that's what you were telling me about. Okay.
So Cafe Justo, whenever they prepare their coffee bags, they have the name of the farmer who actually.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So so I ended up traveling to Chiapas in 2015.
Wow.
The former mayor was traveling with us on this joint venture. Yeah. And
that's awesome.
Yes, and he decided that he wasn't going to seek re-election. So in this, in this space or gathering, we were talking about politics, and he said, Robert, you should run for council. And I said, I don't know. but again, it stuck in my mind. So we come back to the States, and I told my wife, I think I'm going to run for mayor, because the mayor's not running. He's not seeking re-election. And my wife was like, you sure? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. She supported me, and we ran with it.
So what was that like, not having ever been in politics and trying to get elected? Because I have no idea how that works, really.
It was tough because some people would laugh at me.
Yeah? No way.
Can you sign my petition? Like, you're not going to win, dude.
Wow.
So you got to see the other side, right? And so when I won in the primary, because there were 3 people running, I was like, holy cow. I just also, we're heading into a general election because the other candidate didn't get 50 votes plus 1. So then you have to jump into a general election.
Oh, wow.
So here I am, the underdog, running into this election with someone who's very respected in the community. And, I just knocked on doors. I just was out there campaigning, talking to people, telling them what I see, and the potential that Douglas has. And that was in 2016, and I got elected and I won by 24 votes.
That's awesome. Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing.
24 votes.
Wow.
And it's changed my life.
Really?
Being a mayor has been one of the most humbling experiences that I've ever experienced. And I truly feel that I'm experiencing the American dream. Marry, have my kids, and to be the mayor of a border community, an immigrant that came to this country without anything. I'm definitely grateful to the country and the people that elected me.
That's amazing. That's awesome. So what is it exactly that the people in the community are kind of looking for it to change, or how are they looking for things to improve? And is it just tourism and making the city nicer and things like that, or improving the image, or all those things?
Yes.
Yeah. Because I've never been to Douglas. I definitely want to go now. But I'd imagine that because I've been to Tucson many times, and
Have you been to Bisbee?
I have a long time ago, and I was probably in like elementary school, and we went down, into the whatever it was, like copper mines.
Oh
or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
I
yeah.
thought it was awesome. I mean,
Yeah,
um, that's pretty close though, right?
it is about
Yeah.
25 minutes away from
Hmm.
Douglas.
Okay.
Douglas at one point was one of the most populated city in the state of Arizona.
Really?
It was thriving
Hmm.
during the smelter time,
A
and
part of the Bisbee.
yeah,
Style,
that
yeah.
area there, Cochise County was a very robust place back in the day. And today we're having to refine ourselves. How do we market ourselves? And there are some great people in Douglas, like Jeannie Jordan. She's been promoting the city very well.
Hmm.
She has the Wall of Faces at the Gaston Hotel, and she's generated a lot of tourists to go visit there. Education, jobs, and our downtown are three things. I just posted a survey, and I was asking the public what's the most pressing issue that you feel we ought to attack, and number one, jobs.
Hmm.
There's no disposable income. Everyone is living there with minimum, and that's hard. I mean, what do you do? Do you
Yeah.
go and buy clothes, or you buy food?
Yeah, that's rough.
It's
That's
tough. So,
yeah.
and I take that personally because I want to see people in Douglas with their rightful opportunities that they deserve. They deserve they deserve the best. We live in the U.S. and the resources should be reaching us at the border. It shouldn't be stopped at Tucson or the other bigger cities. We contribute significantly to this country's economy, and yet we're overlooked. So, one of the things that I've learned is you have to work across the aisle, and you also have to make sure that in these settings that you have such a short period to make an impact, that you know exactly what you're talking about and the needs. So with one industry in Douglas, we can change the world there. With one industry, we can change the feel, the morale, the image, because 1,000 jobs in Douglas will make a significant impact.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
I don't know. Like, again, if you don't want to talk about this, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
But I don't know how closely like you're following, just like as far as just like candidates that are running now for like the presidential election. But I'd be interested to get your reaction or your opinion to one of the candidates. His name is Andrew Yang, and like the main platform that he's running on is universal basic income. But I think it's interesting because it's something like your community, where if each person were to get $1,000 a month, how that would impact, these smaller communities. I'd be interested to hear like your opinion on that.
Yang Gang.
Yang Gang? Are you in the Yang Gang?
No comment.
Okay.
I think that we have exceptional candidates right now running for the for the highest office in the land. I prefer not to comment on any of that.
Yeah, that's I get that. Yeah.
I would hope that, and we've been working with the administration to try to fund a new commercial port of entry in Douglas, Arizona.
A new what? I'm sorry.
Port of entry.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So we currently have a port of entry in Douglas, but it serves as a multi-purpose port. That's commercial, pedestrians, and vehicles. So we're looking to relocate the commercial elsewhere within the city of Douglas, obviously, and that has become the catalyst for economic development. That's become the vision and that's how people feel the economy will pick up there, because it'll create warehousing, it create commerce, trade, and so that's where as we're championing this project, at the same time the city's working to revitalize the downtown district, which was a very fun place to visit back in the days. People like to reminisce in Douglas. If you ever talk to people in Douglas, they'll tell you, hey, back in the days, G Avenue used to be the place to go.
Really?
And again, I take those things personally because I want for them to feel proud that we have now revitalized their downtown to what they envisioned it to be. Unfortunately, it won't be like that because times change. there's online shopping, people,
Yeah. Mm.
lack of jobs there. So,
Mm-hmm.
so we have some work to do,
Yeah.
but I am confident that we're in the right place. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting what you said about, your coffee shop, your old cafe that you used to have, and what you were talking about, and even like for like bringing, like younger people, like millennials down there, because I've actually never even been to Mexico, but I mean, I could see how, younger people, that'd be cool, like spot to stop
Mm-hmm.
and hang out maybe before you go into whatever, part of Mexico to visit. And, I mean, you're right there. So
Right.
it's like, yeah, I could totally see that. How has it been as far as also just like the whole political, how has it been working with people like in Phoenix, like more local? Have you done that? Or, I mean, how?
Mm-hmm. We work very closely with our counterparts in Mexico. I worked with the governor as well. I work with different entities and different people. If you're bringing something to Douglas that's going to benefit the people there, I'm willing to work with you, and I'm willing to listen to what you have to offer. Mm-hmm. If you're not bringing anything that's going to impact the city, I'm good, man.
Yeah.
That's my mentality.
Yeah.
I don't care if you are red, white, black, blue. If you're bringing something that's going to impact the city, that people are going to say this is good for us, then I'm willing to listen and I'm willing to collaborate. So my collaboration and my willingness to work with people has always been an open door policy for me.
Cool. Where do you, I know like we had talked about a little bit before we got on, camera audio, that you're running for re-election now. Where do you see yourself going, like in the future? Do you see yourself staying kind of in the political field? I know you're an artist as well, so is that kind of like on the sidelines now, or are you going to pick that back up? Or
I'd love to pick that back up.
Yeah.
It's fun, I love to be creative. I love music. I love jazz. I love rap. I love reggaeton.
Who do you like newer like artists, like music wise?
Oh, I'm a huge Drake fan.
Are you really?
I do.
That's hilarious.
I'm a huge Drake fan.
Yeah.
Drake he's the way that he's been able to maintain his career and he's relevant. I mean,
that's true.
He's younger artists.
That's the thing. People, a lot of older people, like, will say like, "There's no good music anymore." Like da 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 da. But there's actually like, if you really are trying to find good music, there is a ton of good new music that's out there.
Yeah, times change.
Yeah.
So, the rap scene's changed into a different genre. So, Lil Uzi Vert.
You like him?
Lil Uzi.
That's hilarious.
I like Uzi. Who else? There's another artist I like, but I just can't remember his name right now. But I have several.
You know who Brittany Howard is?
I don't know.
Ooh.
Fire?
She's the lead singer of the Alabama Shakes. You know that band?
She's the lead singer, and she's gone solo.
Yeah, she just released a solo album. I just bought it the other day on vinyl. But I swear to God, she is like our generation's Janis Joplin. She's like the most powerful like singer. She's amazing, epic.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah.
You have to show me.
Yeah. So as far as like the art thing goes, what type of what's your style?
I like neo-expressionism.
I don't know what that. I don't know anything about art.
I like.
What does that mean?
I'm a huge Keith Haring fan. I'm a huge Basquiat. Basquiat is
I know what that means.
favorite artist of all time. Andy Warhol.
Andy Warhol.
Who else? Dali, Salvatore Dali.
Yeah.
Midong too. Yeah, I mean, I'm fashion, art, music. Those things are great of importance to me.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Lux Coffee here on Central in Phoenix?
Yes. A long time ago though.
Really?
It's been a while.
That place is super kind of funky. It seems like that'd be like a place that you would kind of like vibe with a little bit.
It's been a long time since I've been to Lux. Yeah.
So, just back to kind of Douglas, that whole community. So you kind of you see yourself staying in that for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, it's when you're passionate about something,
Yeah.
and you feel it in your gut that you have to keep going. That's how I feel. I like I said, I take it personal when I see people come up to me and say, Mayor, when are we going to get some jobs here? Or when they say, Mayor, when are we going to get a new commercial port of entry here? And I want to raise my family here. But these things are lacking. So the whole team has to work. The whole city, the administration has to work to make sure that people are happy in their community.
Yeah. Yeah, Rogan, we talked again a little bit about Rogan, but he says this all the time. He's like, you want everybody around you to be doing well, because like that enhances your life too. Like if you're the only one that's doing well and everybody else is miserable, that sucks. So
it's a big fact.
Yeah.
It's a fact.
Yeah. Cool. So being from the Dominican Republic, do you have your citizenship?
I do.
What was that process like?
When Mom became a U.S. citizen in 1997, we automatically became a U.S. citizen.
Okay.
My brother and I both.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
And I didn't realize how important being a U.S. citizen meant. And so I when I went back to the Dominican Republic, which by the way, I didn't have any intentions to go back.
When did you go back to visit?
Yeah. 2017 was the first time I went back in almost 14 years.
Wow.
And I went back as a mayor.
Yeah.
And I was invited to talk to some kids. And Austin, the love, the reception, the joy, the happiness, their smile was so overwhelming. I didn't know how to act.
Really?
Because I go back. I left when I was 6 years old. I visited in '94, and then I went back in 2017, and I didn't know how this logro, it's accomplishment in Spanish, meant for them. It was like this kid from the Dominican Republic leaves, goes on to become the first Dominican mayor in the West Coast and the first person of color on the U.S.-Mexico border, and happens to be a Dominican. Wow. It was a big deal for them. For me, it was like, oh, I just won the election. Let's get to work. Yeah. I'm not processing what's going on, but they were, they did that. And, I had a chance to meet the Minister of Foreign Affairs in the Dominican Republic, past and former president of the country. And so this is why I'm so grateful to the people of Douglas, because of God and them, my life's changed, where I have a voice to help inspire other people. And that means a lot to me.
That's beautiful, man. Wow. So what did you visit family were there?
I did. I had a chance to see my dad after a long time.
Your father?
Yeah, my dad. Wow. I had a chance to visit some friends. I had a chance to visit. I met new people. I ended up having to buy a different luggage because they gave me so many awards and recognition.
Seriously?
From different municipalities. Awesome. That
wow.
I had to buy a luggage to bring home, and it's been a blessing. I have no complaints whatsoever.
Do you see yourself going back then again to visit?
Yes,
okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
My wife and I, we both visited in 2018, and she hadn't visited before, so she saw where I come from.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. So could you potentially run for like a presidential election?
I can probably run to be the president, but I would have to, if I have to give up my citizenship, That's not gonna happen, dude.
Yeah.
You know, if I have to, give up my U.S. citizenship to be the president of the Dominican Republic.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was talking about the U.S.
No, I wouldn't be able to.
Oh, you wouldn't be able to?
No, because I wasn't born here.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you have to be born in the United States.
Sure, okay.
No, man.
Is that the only governmental position?
I can be a senator. I can be a governor. I can be
Governor, like Schwarzenegger.
Like Schwarzenegger, yeah. I can be a congressman.
Okay.
I don't know where my life is going.
Mm-hmm.
I just know that I'm thankful and blessed to be in Douglas, helping the people there. If life takes me elsewhere, then so be it. But when I opened a cafe, our intentions were never to be rich off that coffee shop.
Mm-hmm.
It was intended to as a place for people to enjoy it, for people to express themselves, for people to do art, for people to talk, and that was the sole purpose of it. And through there, an opportunity came to become the mayor or be a candidate, and so anything is possible. I posted something today on social media where I said that I truly feel that Douglas, Arizona, is the land of opportunities. You know.
Yeah.
So in Douglas, I became an artist, so I painted. I got to meet Harrison.
Yeah.
You know, in Douglas, I got married. In Douglas, I became a mayor. In Douglas, I've had a chance to visit the White House. In Douglas, I had a chance to.
Really?
Yeah. 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 It's been
all these
things in Douglas, bro.
Yeah.
Do you think I would have those same opportunities in New York City?
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
Well, that's beautiful, man. I'll be interested to see what happens with your career, and I'm definitely going to follow, what goes on. And
Thank you.
I definitely want to visit Douglas one day. And I have that same like vision too. I've always had this dream of like owning a coffee shop, just so like same thing. I don't want to get rich, but just to like have something to do every day and like, interact with your community. Right. I think that's like a beautiful thing. So, that's badass.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for like being willing to do this. I definitely
welcome.
appreciate it. Is there anything you want to add? Anything?
No, just thankful, Austin. Thank you for allowing me to share the passion for Douglas and for allowing me the platform to really tell the truth about the border, and especially Douglas. And you're right. The coffee shop served as a place to listen. I did more listening than the talking. So when people would come in, I would listen, and that was how I was able to obtain information and apply it to the campaign or apply it to the things that they wanted to see improve in their community. Yeah. So best of luck in your
Thank you,
shop,
man. I appreciate it. Yeah, Robert Uribe 2020, baby. Mayor of Douglas. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Adios.